The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Read by Mike McShane. Tom! No answer. Tom! No answer. What's gone with that boy, I wonder? You, Tom! The old lady pulled her spectacles down and looked over them, about the room. Then she put them up and looked out under them. She seldom or never looked through them for so small a thing as a boy, for they were her state pair, the pride of her heart, and were built for style, not service. She could have seen through a pair of stove lids as well. She looked perplexed a moment and said, not fiercely, but still loud enough for the furniture to hear, "Well, if I lay I get a hold of you, I'll—" She went to the open door and looked out among the tomato vines and weeds that constituted the garden. No Tom. So she lifted up her voice and at an angle calculated for distance and shouted, "You, Tom!" There was a slight noise behind her, and she turned just in time to seize a small boy and arrest his flight. "There! I might have thought of that closet. What you been doing in there?" "Nothin'." "Nothing? Look at your hands and look at your mouth. What is that truck?" I don't know, Aunt." "Well, I know. It's jam, that's what it is. 40 times I said that if you didn't let that jam alone, I'd skin you." "Hand me that switch." The switch hovered in the air. The peril was desperate. "My, look behind you, Aunt." The old lady whirled around and snatched her skirts out of danger, and the lad fled on the instant, scrambled up the high-board fence, and disappeared over it. His Aunt Polly stood surprised for a moment, then broke into a gentle laugh. "Hang the boy! Can't I ever learn anything? Ain't he played me tricks enough like that for me to be looking out for him by this time? But old fools is the biggest fools there is. He'll play hooky this afternoon, and I'll just be obliged to make him work tomorrow to punish him. It's mighty hard to make him work Saturdays when all the boys is having a holiday, but he hates work more than he hates anything else, and I've got to do some of my duty by him or I'll be the ruination of the child." Tom had just acquired a valued novelty in whistling. It consisted in a peculiar bird-like turn, a sort of liquid warble, produced by touching the tongue to the roof of the mouth at short intervals in the midst of the music. And he strode down the street with his mouth full of harmony and his soul full of gratitude. He felt much as an astronomer feels who has discovered a new planet. Presently Tom checked his whistle. A stranger was before him, a boy a shade larger than himself. A newcomer of any age or either sex was an impressive curiosity in the poor little village of St. Petersburg. This boy was well-dressed, too, well-dressed on a weekday. This was simply astounding. He had shoes on, and yet it was only Friday. He even wore a necktie, a bright bit of ribbon. He had a citified air about him that ate into Tom's vitals. The more Tom stared at the splendid marvel, the higher he turned up his nose at his finery, and the shabbier and shabbier his own outfit seemed to him to grow. Neither boy spoke. If one moved, the other moved, but only sidewise in a circle. They kept face to face and eye to eye all the time. Finally Tom said, "I can lick you." "I'd like to see you try it." "Well, I can do it." "No, you can't either." "Yes, I can." "No, you can't." "I can." An uncomfortable pause. Then Tom said, "What's your name?" "'Tisn't any of your business, maybe." "Oh, you think you're mighty smart, don't you? I could lick you with one hand tied behind me if I wanted to." "Well, why don't you do it? You say you can do it." "Well, I will if you fool with me." "Oh, take a walk." "Say, if you give me much more of your sass, I'll take and bounce a rock off of your head." "Oh, of course you will." "Well, I will." "Well, why don't you do it then? What do you keep saying you will for? Why don't you do it?" "It's because you're afraid." "I ain't afraid." "You are." Another pause, and more eyeing and sidling around each other. Presently they were shoulder to shoulder. So they stood, each with a foot placed at an angle as a brace, and both shoving with might and main and glaring at each other with hate. But neither could get an advantage. After struggling till both were hot and flushed, each relaxed his strain with watchful caution. Tom drew
Sample complete. Ready to continue?